Welcome back to the Club Call-In Show. Great to see you, lads. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. This is where we talk to all the OGs, and I love it.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Let's just get straight into it. Why not? Nathan, Man United fan, how are you?
I'm not too bad, Buvey. How are you?
Oh, mate, the sun is shining in London. It's unbelievable. I'm tanning. Got vitamin C, vitamin D.
Are you?
You don't look tanned.
What are you on about?
Mate, you don't look
Can I
tanned.
borrow some of your-
Look at that.
Mate, you're,
so
mate, you're
pale.
translucent today. Mate,
I'm
you're like
darker than
Casper the
you.
Friendly
I'm darker
Ghost.
than you. Look at that.
You're like Casper.
That's a real tan. That's
Are
a
you
real
wearing
tan.
a t-shirt? Are you topless?
Nathan, how you doing? Are you tanning, mate? Are you enjoying the British weather? Where in the world are you right now?
Yeah. I'm in the Midlands. You know Derby. You know around
Oh,
there.
there's not much
Those
sun there.
parts?
Oh,
Not much
Derby.
sun
Nah,
there.
it is. On
Bonnie
days
Blue.
like today.
How far are you from
Exactly.
Sinfin Park?
About 25 minutes from
Oh,
Sinfin.
nice. I used to play loads of tournaments down there. I loved it, man.
Sinfin.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Derby, near the baseball ground.
Yeah, about 20 minutes from the old.
You're
baseball
20 minutes
ground,
from everything, innit? Are you? You're like a taxi driver.
Centre of the earth.
I just turned in your corner now, mate. What do you want to talk about, Nath?
So, obviously, I'm here to discuss Dominic Calvert-Lewin to United. Obviously, I seen Rory did a video about it yesterday. Obviously, so I want to get your boys' thoughts about it, particularly you, Adam, because obviously you're a United fan. But I personally think it's not a bad shout. I think they should go in for him.
I agree.
Buvey's nodding along.
I
This
agree
is
with you.
terrible.
Buvey's nodding along,
I
which
agree.
shows you that what you're saying is wrong because he's doing it from a troll
No,
perspective.
I'm not. I'm doing it from a real football
Nathan,
perspective.
Can you give me the reasons why you think Dominic Calvert-Lewin would be a decent signing? Before I disagree with you or agree with you, because I don't know. You might
So,
persuade me.
Obviously, he's on a free. So first of all, obviously, I know that we're in a sticky situation financially.
Is your surname
really-
Glazer by any chance?
I know it wouldn't. No, I just think because obviously we're in a bit of a sticky situation with the finance side. So getting him on a free, you got nothing to lose really. And also getting in, obviously, I'm not saying just get him in as the only striker. I think you need somebody else as well. You
Mhm.
need him as like a backup sort of thing. But obviously then it kind of pushes the door out for Rasmus Højlund to kind of go and get some money for him as well. Because obviously I think we need to get rid of him and get some money back for him. As
So
I've lost all hope.
in Nathan's world, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is one of two striker signings and Rasmus Højlund leaves.
Yes, just purely for the fact of if we can get, say 30, 40 mil for Rasmus Højlund, we can put that towards a striker or, other areas of the pitch that we need to improve on. Because let's be honest, it's quite a few.
Nathan, this is ridiculous. This whole thing is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Like, there is absolutely no world where signing Dominic Calvert-Lewin for Manchester United is a good signing. Like, you can't spin it. You can't paint it in this particular light. You can't put sugar on it. This is a ridiculous signing. Dominic Calvert-Lewin hasn't had a good game for about 4 years. He is a fairly average striker, even in his best form. Like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, even at his very best, which lasted about 6 months under Carlo Ancelotti about four or 5 years ago, even that version of Dominic Calvert-Lewin isn't good enough for Manchester United.
I think that version of Dominic Calvert-Lewin I'd be interested in signing, but unless you're bringing Ancelotti with him, I don't think...
COVID. That was COVID.
I don't think you get that. Also, he's got
But,
big
yeah.
injury
There
problems.
weren't no one in the stadium. That's why he did
He's
so well.
always injured. He's more recently been on like the cover of GQ magazine than I can remember him scoring a goal. Like, what are we talking about here? How can you possibly think this is good news?
Because you've got to think, right, first of all, he's played in the Prem. Yeah, he's obviously been injured quite a bit and stuff like that. But on his day, you can agree, whether it was like 4 years ago, but on his day, he can be a problem for...
But aren't you fed
defenders.
up, Nave,
what-
as a Man
when's his day?
United
When's
fan
his
of
day?
having
What day?
players that
Scored
are good on their day?
72 goals in 9 years
Jeez.
at Everton. 72 goals in 9 years. It's a defender.
Yeah.
To be fair, he's hardly been fit. So that sounds quite good.
Probably a goal a game.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. But I just think, if we weren't in such a financial, bad spot,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go near him. But the problem is, you've got to look at the free market because that is where you're going to get some good players. And I do feel like with Calvert-Lewin, you've got nothing to lose getting him in as a backup.
God.
Especially if
kinda
you bring
see
in a
How
vet.
got everything to
embarrassing is
lose.
this?
I kind of see the
Honestly,
angle he's coming from,
so
where
embarrassing.
you've got no European football next season. If you can get a fee for Rasmus Højlund, you let him go, and you try and bring in another striker.
What fee then? Because
I don't think it'd be
Nathan's talked
40
mil.
million. I think he might get to 40 million.
Get 40 million.
If he achieves all his add-ons. You might be lucky for that.
You would get, I think you
it'll
get
be a
10 million quid.
No,
You
I
get
think-
40 million yen. You don't get 40 million quid for
I think
him.
you get.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
think you
no
get 20
way.
million plus a lot of add-ons.
I don't think you get 20.
You can definitely get. You can definitely get 20
From
plus
who?
mil for
From who?
Højlund.
What club? Give me a club.
The Italian club
I'm
want him
sure.
still.
The Italian.
But that's the problem, Booth.
Barnsley. Barnsley can't spend 20 million quid. That's his level, Barnsley.
Booth, this is the problem United have got, yeah. I know you're in your mode at the moment, but
I'm not in no mode.
The problem United have got at the moment is Rasmus Højlund right now could still get 30, 35 million in a structured deal with some of these clubs in Italy. But if we keep him for another year, right, next year is going to be worth nothing. Because these clubs aren't going, well, last year he did quite well. And, the season before last he did quite well. Maybe last season was just a bad year. Then it becomes he's had 2 bad seasons. Now he's worth nothing.
Why don't you just keep him? How about that? You spent all this money.
No.
You should, what's the phrase? You should, what's the phrase where you make a mistake?
Make the bed.
Make the bed that you lie in, or whatever.
Lie in the bed.
Lie in the bed you make, or whatever. But why don't you just keep
proof's in the pudding.
Let's just see it. The proof's in the pudding. Honestly, no, seriously, it's like you spend all this money, you inflate the market. Man United have been ruining the transfer market. No one talks about it for 5, 6, 7 years. Seriously, keep him. Keep him.
Right,
you deserve it.
Just hold on. As a Man City fan, you cannot say that we've been inflating the market for the last 7, 8 years.
Spent less than you in the last 5 years. Less than you in the last 5 years.
What'd you spend 5 years before that?
Comparable amount.
Mate, you spent 200 million in January.
Huh? Chelsea have been inflating the market. They spent 14 players.
I'm not talking about other clubs inflating the market, though. You are.
Okay, I am. Man United
Also,
have been inflating the market.
You know what? Man United don't have anyone in the top 10 transfer fees in world football. You do.
Correct.
What are you talking about? Of the top 10 Premier League signings of all time, about 5 of them are Man United players. One of them is Man City player.
I don't think so anymore.
You got Florian Wirtz, you got Pogba, Lukaku. Yeah,
Pogba and Lukaku aren't there anymore.
Anthony.
Florian Wirtz. You've got Jack Grealish.
Yeah. Give me another City player. You can.
You've got a couple of their ones they bought for 100-odd million.
No.
The top 5. Man United don't
it was one
feature in
Liverpool
the top 10 in world football.
There's a couple that does 100%. Pogba must be.
Let's keep this on topic here.
Yeah, let's.
Who would be the striker that you want in a dream world? Because right now you're talking a very realistic, very Glazer-nomic, very depressive Manchester United fan vibes.
Yes.
Who would you take in a dream world?
Do you know what? It's difficult to say because there's always that hoo-ha about, are they going to be good in the Premier League? Are they Prem proven? Because obviously Gyokeres, people throw the name around. I personally wouldn't mind Mateta, but obviously
Mateta would be a better option than Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
He'd mind.
He'd
mind. Why Mateta? He's just won the FA Cup with Palace. Could be playing in Europe.
Come on, Beef.
I know they're a big club, Man United, historically, but right now, you're Mateta at the end of your 20s. You've got a few prime years left. He's not a spring chicken. I'd rather stay with Glasner. 100%. In Europe with Glasner. Just won the FA Cup.
I don't know, man.
But you've got to think for Mateta, realistically, it's going to be one season in Europe for Palace. Like, they're probably not going to get Europe again next season. So you've got to think the Man United have got they've got a project, So you can either have one good year with Palace or be part of a project where you get consistent European football every season with Man United.
Do you?
And also be the focal point within that team. Well, that's the project, isn't it? You've got to believe in the project. The aim of the game is to get.
Do you believe in the project, Nathan?
I believe in the project. I believe in Amorim. Yeah, 100%.
What gave you that belief? Events in Bilbao?
Listen, we don't talk about events in Bilbao. That was
I do. I think about it every night.
I'm with Nathan, man. Nathan, positive vibes only, yeah? 21 is coming,
exactly.
innit?
Nathan.
Yeah, 21 is coming. I don't know when, but it's coming.
I just feel sorry for you, Nathan. I really do. And trying to pretend that Dominic Calvert-Lewin would be a decent signing and actually convincing himself that he does believe that.
Nave, tell me that we don't want
I was there when I was a kid. We signed Benjani. I thought it was unbelievable business. He scored a couple of goals against Man United in the derbies. Yeah. Benjani. I mean, Benjani's 10 times the player of Calvert-Lewin. Honestly, no joke.
I don't disagree.
Benjani.
I don't disagree there.
You've got to look, but the calibre of strikers back then to now is incomparable. Like, you've got to realise a lot of the strikers back then in Brian Barkley's era.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Gyokeres, we talk about Gyokeres, it's because there's no one else in the market. If Gyokeres was there with 5, 6 other striker options, but you got Osimhen, Gyokeres, Sesko, then it gets
Sesko
Vlahovic from Juventus.
Scored
no, it's not.
It's not great.
Nathan, do us a favour. Will you call us back
when we're top of the league
after Dominic Calvert-Lewin has played 3 games for Manchester United?
On that note, we'll never speak to you again, Nate.
When he's played 3 games for Manchester United, you need to get in touch because we need to revisit this. One of us will be proved correct, and it won't be you.
That's what. Well, listen, you've not had a good track record with strikers, Rory. Look at the Haaland shout.
I was right.
Ooh.
How are you right?
Although Nath, you're pushing it here, putting Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Haaland in the same sentence.
Nathan, I look forward to speaking to you in a few weeks' time. Thank you so much for your call.
What a caller.
No problem.
Right,
have a good day.
Amazing
Reds.
stuff there
Go
from
on,
Manchester United fans. They are all over the place trying to twist themselves in knots and to convince themselves that Dominic Calvert-Lewin can do the business for them. We're now going to talk to the victor of Bilbao. It's Kale. I'm tired of using technology. How are you?
Yes, lads, how's it going?
How are you?
Fantastic, mate, yeah.
Oh, mate, phenomenal. Weather's shining. It's just incredible. It's just dawned on me, mate. It feels great.
Are you in London?
No, I'm actually in West Sussex. I'm from London. I live
West
in London,
Sussex?
but I'm in the trenches, man. I'm in the middle of nowhere.
I was down there this weekend in Rye. Lovely little village, mate.
Yeah, I don't know where that is, mate. Don't know. To be honest.
By Canberra Sands.
What's on your mind, KO?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a controversial take here, lads. I know we all love a bit of controversy. Not for me, but for the masses. I wholeheartedly believe that Spurs will actually get top 4 next season, or this season coming up.
Are you a Tottenham fan?
I know to say top 5, so you're going top 4.
I'm saying top 4, minimum 5th. Well, I'm guessing we'll get top 4.
Who's that ahead of then? Just give me the clubs, because obviously you're not saying you're going to finish above Liverpool. That's fair. I think Man City, I don't think you finish above City. I think that's fair to say already, and Arsenal.
Yeah.
So there's only 2 spots. It's you and who else in the top 5?
Austin, Chelsea.
So no Newcastle, no Villa.
There's no reason why he couldn't be right, though. I think if Thomas Frank does hit the ground running there, he is a very good coach.
It means he's taken a team from 16th to 4th.
That's a big leap, yeah.
Look,
but we're going to go from 15th to 1st, so...
Yeah, exactly. And then look, this is obviously, I'm obviously gonna. This is obviously controversial, right? And you guys are probably all looking at each other thinking, "What the hell is this Wallad talking about?" But I obviously come here with some points. I wanna kind of convince you boys, right? Now, obviously, everyone in the Dogs know that we finished 17th. Yeah, shocking season, right? But Forest also finished 17th last season, right? Now, up until about a month and a bit ago, we all had them finishing in the top 4. Let's be honest, they only capitulated till in May. Right, I had them down. I actually put a bet down they were going to finish 3rd. Lost a bit of money there. I shouldn't have done that. But what I'm trying to say is that, and that's just one point. Look, can it happen? Yes, it can, because it's happened, right? And we've seen crazier shockers than that. Right now, with the addition of Thomas Frank, right, and a couple additions of quality individuals, I genuinely think we can push for top 4. Well, we haven't lost anyone insignificant in terms of good quality. If anything, we're adding quality.
Because you don't have much quality.
There's nobody to lose.
They got
though,
a good squad. They got a very good squad. They got some great centre backs. Van der Ven. They need a keeper. I think Solanke could score them a decent amount of goals.
They don't think they need a keeper. Vicario, they spend.
No,
yeah, that's just my opinion. Then I don't know what KO is saying about that, but I think who are the signings that you're talking about coming in? Then I'm interested.
So. Let's be honest. Mohamed Kudus is 90% done already. He only wants us. I heard he rejected Bayern Munich. Silly of him, and it actually I'm questioning his mentality, to be honest. But I'm not complaining.
I love that.
I've heard. Nico Gonzalez actually wants to leave City. I'm hearing that. Right?
Why are you bringing City into it? Oh, you want to sign Nico?
No, I've heard reports that we're actually in for a 6. So Bissouma is looking to go to Juventus. Want Bissouma. I've saw a report that Spurs could possibly go in for Nico Gonzalez, maybe a loan with an option to buy.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah.
That's a quality addition. We need a 6. We need winger. Kudus is one of the best in the league. In terms of eye test, I mean, he's incredible. I think we can all agree on that.
But Buvey, do you think? Buvey, do you reckon
that can definitely push us on?
If KO's suggestion there is right, do you think that Nico Gonzalez could elevate Tottenham to top 4?
I think it would be a real push ahead of the likes. I think Newcastle United are better than Spurs. I think they're better than Villa. I think they could finish above Villa, but that might mean they come 6th or 7th. I think they can definitely get in that kind of range, but top 4 with that side. And then you're talking about Nico Gonzalez being the kind of player that takes you there. He has struggled, and there's City fans that don't like him moving on from City because he's just come in. He's a nice character. He's not a kind of hated figure by City fans. He looks a touch slow. He looks a little bit out of it in terms of the pace of being a Premier League midfielder. I don't know if he catapults Spurs into the top 4.
KO, if you sign Mohamed Kudus, what do you think that means for James Maddison?
Kudus been signed for the wings.
I don't think it means anything, to be honest. I think Kudus will play on the wing. Maddison will play in the 10. I don't think that will affect his position.
Kulusevski?
More about Kulusevski. Yeah, Kulusevski, that's the thing that kind of gets to me a little bit. What we're going to do with him. Us Spurs fans, we can all unanimously agree that he's probably better in the 10. But now I just want to know how Thomas Frank is going to utilize both Maddison and Kulusevski. Because I prefer Kulusevski in the 10 rather than on the wing. But obviously, Mamadou Kudus, I don't know how versatile he is. Can he play on the left? I don't know. We'll rather have him on the right instead of Brendan Johnson. Probably we have Matthias Tell on the left. They can switch and change with Son. So it adds that good depth. It adds that good quality. And I feel like with Thomas Frank, we all saw what he done with Brian Mbeumo. Why can't he do the same? With a new manager bounce, with the additions of quality players, listen, we can get top 4. We can. The injuries last season cost us significantly, right? The system that Andrew was playing a high line, obviously increased our overall injuries, especially the severity of the injuries as well. It's not like, a player went out for a couple of days. No, they went out for months. Our whole back 5 went out at one point. We were playing kids. We was playing a 50-year-old man in goal. So I feel like with Thomas Frank, I feel like he could be a bit more smarter when it comes to tactics. I mean, we all know he can change formations in a game. We can change to a couple of different formations. Andrew wasn't like that. It was my way or the highway. So with Thomas Frank, with a couple of new additions, we can definitely push up for top 4.
I don't think it's that much of a stretch. I don't think it will happen. But I do think KO's right. If Thomas Frank does do well and does hit the ground running at Spurs,
That's a good call. Argued it well as well, KO.
What did you guys all make of them keeping Matthias Towns? Because he didn't seem to do much while he was there on loan, did he? I know he scored a goal against Aston Villa, which was a good finish. But he didn't do much, and they've kind of kept him and spent 40 million on him.
I'm not too surprised by that. When you think about what they have, like Tell's potential is huge. He's one of the better players in the squad. I think it's probably a good sign.
Good ceiling. Good high.
I suppose
high
they may have
ceiling.
asked Thomas Frank as well. Like, do you want us to?
Now they know him as well. So you're getting
KO, what do you think about that? Were you surprised to see Matthias Tell sign for Tottenham permanently?
Yeah, I actually was, to be honest, because I didn't think he had a good season. Now, granted, he is young. It is a new league. We have to give him the benefit of the doubt. But for me, he just doesn't really cut it. But again, we've got to give him another chance with a new manager. See how Thomas Frank can utilize him. Listen, I hope he proves me wrong. I didn't want him to stay. But it is what it is. I've got to suck it up now. If it is between him and Son, I'd rather have Tell instead of Son. I feel like Son is well past his.
I think it might be the perfect time for Son to leave, innit? Lifted a trophy.
Yeah.
Captain of the club.
Yeah, he looks a mile off it physically. He's lost a bit of pace.
Yeah, brilliant call, KO. Thank you so much.
Thank you, KO.
Appreciate that, lads.
Cheers.
Appreciate
Good to talk to you. Looking forward to talking to him again. It's good call there.
Yeah, good energy actually.
Yeah,
100%.
Should we move on to Briggsy?
Big Southampton fan.
Briggsy.
Hello. How are you, boys? You all right?
Yeah,
good, mate. How are you?
Yeah.
You got a problem with Buvey, I imagine. Is that why you called us up?
I don't know if there is anyone alive that doesn't have a problem with Buvey.
Yeah, give it to him.
Sorry, Booth.
sorry.
No, so I'm in a little bit of a dilemma. Obviously, last season was horrendous. I don't think anyone needs to have another repeat of that. But obviously, going back down to the Championship, so I've been a Saints fan, a season ticket holder for a long old time. So going back down to Championship, I'm in two minds whether it is better to stay down there for a couple of years because of how shocking we were when we came up, or if we stay down there too long, we'll get suckered in, maybe go back down to League One. And so I'm in really two minds as to whether the gap is just
How do you
much.
feel as a fan, Briggsy? Like, obviously, you just said you're a season ticket holder that goes St. Mary's week in, week out. When you have that season in the Championship where you're winning every week and you're top of the league, and you're obviously going to get promoted, and then you contrast that to the Premier League, obviously you have those joyous celebrations of getting to the Premier League, but then you kind of know we're not going to be winning every week again. How is that to juggle as a fan?
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's one where me and my mates, we have different opinions in that as well. Because I want to be playing against the best teams. I go to the games not only to watch my team and support my team, but also it's not half bad when you're watching Haaland live and you're watching these players where you go, you're never going to see anything like that down in the Championship, are you? Well, maybe if City do get their fines, but doubt that's coming. But anyway, I think I enjoy the Premier League and I enjoy that level of it. Equally, I enjoy being competitive.
Does the Premier League enjoy you being in the league?
I don't think after last season anyone enjoyed
no,
it.
seriously.
No,
there are some
it's a
clubs that
valid
add to
point.
the league.
Well-
I'm not trying to be nasty. I just think you're not ready for the Premier League. I'd have a decade
weren't.
in the Championship. Have a decade. You don't need to be back in 2028, 2030.
You know
I
what's
mean,
dangerous, Booth? The longer you stay out of the Premier League and that parachute money's gone.
Oh, yeah, of
goes
course.
down
That's
to-
it.
You're getting further.
their
and
best
further
years,
away.
though. I mean, Briggsy can tell me their best years. They had Ricky Lambert up front with Adkins as manager in League One.
Also, they had a
That was
very-
their best time. So
they
they're a Championship club. With all due respect, you're not really built to dominate in the Premier League, are you? I'd rather see Sunderland up there or Sheffield Wednesday or.
They
I
had a
would.
very strong academy as
Booby,
well, didn't
you
they?
look at the world-class players that we've produced and we've brought through.
Oh yeah, look,
Like-
every club's got an array of talent. Every club's got talent that goes into the Premier League and does amazing things or goes around Europe. But
But now that's become Brighton, hasn't it? Brighton are the ones doing the smart
Yeah.
recruitment.
I'm not even trying to wind you up. I think next season you'll do really well in the Championship. I think it's a very level playing field. You look at the playoffs last season. I think there was 8 or 9 clubs that could have got into the playoffs in the final 3 or 4 weeks. I think next season you're going to get a load of points. You're going to play beautiful football. I think just enjoy the Championship.
See, they got
personally.
Will Still as
Will
manager.
Still, yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
You happy
So-
with that one, Briggsy?
When he got the job, I said I should have applied for it. I play a lot of Football Manager.
Have
I
you
think-
seen that? That was a myth about him, by the way.
Well,
Has anyone ever seen that? He
does
did an
come
interview
from
and someone
data
said-
analytics and so on, doesn't he? So
Yeah, he does
have
come from
more of
that,
a background
but he
than
like
but-
he was asked about the Football Manager thing, and he said I kind of leaned into it because it was a funny story and that, but I don't play Football Manager that much.
Helps his PR, didn't it? Helps his
Yeah.
how people thought of
yeah,
him.
it got him a name before he was even started, didn't it? So yeah, I think it'll be watching him on Monday Night Football. He looked really good when he was talking about that, but then again, so did Martin. Who was
So
on
did
it
Gary
a month
Neville.
after.
Oh, they
So-
all look good on there. They all look good on
Yeah,
there, mate. Tom
exactly.
Kearney looked good
So
on
I
there.
think proof will be in the pudding, I think. But like you said, I think, no, we will do well next season. That's no doubt. But
Give another club a chance, man. No, I don't want you to do well. Millwall, Bristol City, and get me another club in there. Sheffield Wednesday, why not?
I'd rather
I don't
have
like
QPR up than them.
Nah.
They've already had a go, haven't they? Millwall haven't had a go in donkey's years. But not with all due respect, Southampton. No thanks. Or no Sheffield United, please.
Briggsy, are you coming straight back up?
I don't think we do. No.
That's the spirit.
No, I don't think we do. Not given. Well, we don't deserve to, do we?
No, I agree.
think
I think you should get banned. It's
Honest.
like you get banned at driving. You can't just go straight back if you've been banned at driving. You get a 6-month thing or penalty points or whatever it is. You can't just go straight back on the road. Can you? Smash into a lamppost, you're straight back onto the M4 a day later. No, you can have a delay. Delay Southampton for 3 years. No more.
What are you chatting
What you on about?
If you smash
People
into a
can drive the
lamppost,
same day they have a
you
car.
get a
It's
6-month
not
ban
all-
from
it's
driving,
not
don't you?
just
There's
me.
a,
What if
a
you have a
time delay.
crash?
No.
You know what I'm
But maybe
talking-
you
know what I'm
should.
talking
Maybe you
about.
should.
You know what I'm talking
How many
about.
points you got on your bus pass, Boo?
On my line bike. Give these guys 3 years
Briggsy,
off.
thank you very much for your time.
Briggsy, love you, mate.
Thank you.
appreciate it,
Great
boys.
to
I
talk to
think
you.
The club's fantastic.
You're the
so,
main man.
yeah,
Let's talk to you
really,
again soon. Get in touch.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers,
Thank you
mate.
very much.
Right, let's move on to our next caller now, and I feel like it's almost a member of this
I've heard
show.
from this guy more than my own flesh and blood in the last year. Seriously.
They all do hate it, all, Boo.
Every week he's chatting to me.
Hanif, brother, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys all doing?
Yes, mate.
Yes,
Superb.
brother.
Mate, give it to Buvey today, yeah, properly.
Well, I feel like there'll be a couple arguments in the office between all of you because I am here to ask you guys what are your Manchester United, Manchester City, and Chelsea all-time combined 11.
All time.
What, with
all
each
current.
other, combined?
We do 111, but you pick your Chelsea guy.
Okay.
I pick City and obviously United. All time including, so George Best can be an option for
No.
Adam.
What we're not going to do is pick
Premier-
players that we've never seen.
Oh, but that's boring.
It's not,
He's
man.
just done all time. Well, I know my history. I know George Best probably gets
I know
into the
my
11.
history too, but
Like,
I wouldn't put George Best in my Man United.
You wouldn't put George Best into your all-time 11.
This is because
What
this
about
is,
Bobby Charlton?
because this
Bobby
is a,
Charlton.
because this is a
Didn't
very
see him.
easy one for you because everybody's happened in the last 10 years.
I didn't see him play.
15 years been banging you up for 15.
I didn't
That's
see
2
him play.
decades nearly. So you never Pele's rubbish then.
So you want to do it as a Premier League era?
I'm joking.
I want to do all time.
Premier League.
Actually, I don't.
You wanna
It's
do it
just
all
It's
time?
going to be Bobby Charlton.
What are you going to do? Start like telling us
Dennis
how brilliant Mike Summerby was?
He was fantastic, mate. Bombing down the wing. Let's do it then. Premier League only then, because I never watched him. I never watched him then, so let's just do Premier League. Let's do it then. Go on then.
Premier League
In goal?
only.
Peter Schmeichel.
I would say Petr Cech, but he told me to F off, so I'm slightly...
Van der Sar.
Okay. Kevin Hitchcock. I'm not putting Petr Cech in mine. Petr Cech swore at me, so he's not in.
I'd have put Cech in, actually. I think Cech.
I'd have put Cech in, obviously, but he swore at me. You can't put him in because he swore at me.
Schmeichel's better.
Yeah, but that's why I'm putting him in.
No, but he swore at me. A bit of loyalty.
After the Super League protest,
comes up every week.
Petr Cech told Rory.
Basically, Peter Cech picked up with one hand Thogden and his other hand Rory and threw him onto the King James Road. Seriously.
Yeah.
All right, Schmeichel in goal. That's standard. Right back.
Branislav
I'm going
Ivanovic.
Kyle Walker.
Branislav Ivanovic.
Gary Neville.
But the answer's probably Gary Neville.
I think Kyle Walker.
I'd go Gary Neville, but I'd go Branislav Ivanovic as an honourable mention.
It is tough between Kyle Walker and Gary Neville.
But it's Neville.
He's at Burnley now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't do a Rio.
Centre halves. Terry +1, whatever you want to do.
Rio.
Terry and Rio.
Terry +1.
Terry Ferdinand, yeah. Left back is even a question.
No.
Obviously Ashley Cole, easy
But
done.
I do look. It's Ashley Cole, but Dennis Irwin deserves a mention.
Terry Ferdinand. Right, now it gets trickier. 3 in the middle, are we doing? 3 or 2 in the middle?
Whatever.
3 in the middle.
Ian Kante. I can't put a City player ahead of Kante, so that's my issue. I'd love Rodri, Fernandinho, Yaya Toure, but I can't.
I go
Are we doing a 3?
Keane, Scholes, Lampard. If I was doing a 3.
Lampard's not over De Bruyne for me.
Lampard, Keane.
We might get stuck here, but I'm not being stubborn, but De Bruyne's better than Lampard.
But the job that De Bruyne would do in this team would be done by Fabregas.
Oh,
De Bruyne's better than Fabregas.
Fabregas. Oh,
definitely. That's
okay. Right.
That's
so we're gonna go. Kante.
So good.
Kante has to get in. Easy.
No, I don't know. I'll put
Kante, Keane.
If you have to lose, if you have to lose Keane to put Kante in, you don't lose Keane.
No, you put Keane. I'd have
Keane's in, of course.
So Keane's in, Lampard's in, +1.
Not Lampard. You can't just sneak Lampard in.
If
Lampard's in, De Bruyne has to be ahead of him.
The person who'd be trying to sneak in would be Dennis Wise.
Yeah.
Be careful of that one.
Yeah, that's what you got to watch out for. Yeah.
I can't look. If I get outvoted, fair enough.
He's not on the bench.
There's no version Lampard's better than De Bruyne.
In every version, Lampard's better.
He's not.
Lampard.
He's not.
Okay.
How's Paul Scholes flown out of this conversation?
Paul Scholes is in the team. That's why. These lot are arguing for the last team. Used to make
but you're just going to flip flop, man. One day you say De Bruyne, next minute you go. I mean, I don't even. Alpha, you do it. De Bruyne or Lampard?
Make your argument,
man.
Yeah, Alpha. Yeah, Alpha, you do it. Yeah, I love how upset you were by that. No, I know. Yeah,
Alpha, De Bruyne or Lampard?
Lampard, obviously.
No. Let him.
Yeah, he's done it. He's done it. It's
freedom of speech.
He's done his freedom of speech. He's done it.
Keane,
Scholes, Lampard. You offered it to him, and now he's done it.
No, I'm not coming in again now.
Nice.
I'm not coming in.
Absolutely, Lampard. Right, we gave our producer the deciding vote, and he chose Frank Lampard because he's a wise
City
man.
players. City are the second most successful side in the history of the Premier League, and there's no representation.
You're going to get some representation maybe soon.
We won't.
Right wing Cristiano Ronaldo.
See?
Right wing Cristiano Ronaldo.
Left
Left
wing
wing Hazard. Yeah, there we go.
Ryan Giggs.
Left wing Ryan
Striker,
Giggs,
Wayne Rooney.
Hazard, Robin.
That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Lampard doesn't make the Centurions better, but De Bruyne makes Chelsea sides with Mourinho better.
Mate, we had him. We got rid of him.
100%.
We didn't want him. 2 bob.
Rory, Buvey, don't say anything for at least 30 seconds. Why is Lampard better than De Bruyne?
Because anyone that's watched football will know that. Just look at him play the game. One of them captained Chelsea to a European Cup to win London's first ever European Cup. One of them scored a crucial penalty to make sure that we won that European Cup. Fought tooth and nail when the vast majority of the other leaders in the team, Branislav Ivanovic, John Terry, Raul Ramirez, were all suspended. One man rose to the top, took the captain's armband and won London's first European Cup, going to Germany, going to play Bayern Munich in Munich and lifting it aloft. The other cried in a
Well, and he won a treble. That obviously Lampard
The
never
other cried.
did. Well,
The other cried.
Lampard never won a treble.
The other cried.
Lampard
Okay,
really poor
stop.
for England, by the way. Really poor for his country. De Bruyne had an unbelievable.
Do you remember the
2018
2000?
World
Do you remember the 2004?
Really
Do you
poor
remember the
for his country.
2004? Lampard, England's best player.
Cup.
Right?
He missed a penalty.
Buvey,
Didn't
let you speak. I have to ask you to be quiet in court. Buvey, why is De Bruyne? Sorry, Hanif. Buvey, why?
Yeah, pipe down.
Yeah, Hanif, shut up.
Shut up a minute. Buvey, why is De Bruyne better than Lampard?
More Premier League titles, better on the ball. He's probably a little bit worse off the ball. Better goal catalogue. Hat tricks with his weak foot. I mean, he has far more technical quality than Lampard. If it's about emotion, I get the Bayern Munich moment. It was fantastic, but De Bruyne's level is far better, and more neutral fans would agree with me.
And now me and Hanif are gonna have a chat. Hanif,
Yeah.
you still there? Sorry, bro, for shouting at you.
Yeah.
You just heard the two arguments there. Which argument stirred you more?
Right. Rory's argument stirred me more, to be honest. It was a lot more passionate.
Buvey didn't feel like he cared, did he?
Buvey sounded like he just woke up. But, you know,
Fucking hell. Hanif.
my vote was always on Kevin De Bruyne anyway.
Sorry, your vote was?
Huh?
On Kevin De Bruyne.
Oi! Lads, we can't be joking about, can we? City are the second most successful side in Premier League history.
He was pretty much the best player for City in a City team that dominated the Premier League for the last 10 years.
But everyone says Thierry Henry's the greatest.
but Lampard was never the best player in the Premier League.
Bread and he won 2 league titles.
Lampard was never the best player in the Premier
Never
League.
defended one.
Was he? Let's be real. Let's be real.
No, there was a period.
There
where
were periods where
Was he?
Lampard, yeah.
05.
What year?
yeah.
05.
Henri.
05.
05. Gigs.
It was 05. It was Man United weren't very good.
Gerrard
in
was
05.
better in 05.
No, he wasn't.
No,
He was.
no.
Yes, he was.
He wasn't. He didn't have a better season.
Mate, when
Didn't have
Mourinho
best.
rocked up to town, Lampard was for
Gerrard.
1 or 2
Oh,
seasons the best.
Well,
I love
hang on,
Lampard.
hang on.
I love
Just-
Lampard.
Just to
What a
put
footballer.
Just to put that into
De Bruyne dominated
just
the league.
Just to finalise that year where you're going, no, that year in the Ballon d'Or, Lampard finished second, Gerrard finished third.
Yeah.
Rory, can I tell you something? Something that you never say. Lampard and De Bruyne were once in the same squad, and one of them had to leave because he couldn't hack it.
What, when he was a kid?
Cried off,
What's that got to?
Crying.
That's not a relevant football argument.
crying,
It's not.
weeping into his pillow like Kylie Minogue.
Would Wayne Rooney be
Would Wayne Rooney-
Basing
crying
football
away?
arguments on what happens at youth academy level, that kind of age, is
Wasn't it youth
absolute
academy
He's
level?
a
craziness.
crier. Why do I have so many images of that man crying?
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing to pick up on. Football's an emotional sport. That's why I love football.
Yeah, but it's usually
It is
at
an
half
emotional
time
sport.
in a game.
Not everyone's know that job.
Yeah, 23 minutes in, blubbering. And if great to talk to you again, I look forward to doing it next week. I'll probably
Yeah, see you next
text
week.
me later.
Hilarious.
I always say that this is my favourite part of the week, and it really is. Thank you to everybody who's contributed to this show. Thank you to everybody who's taken the time out to be part of it. If you want to get involved, all you've got to do is click the link in the description. Our Discord details are there, and you could be talking to us next week. We're now going to go to our voice note segment of the show.
Hello, lads. Name's Andre. I support Arsenal. And my question for you guys is, what is your honest opinions about Victor Gyokeres going to Arsenal? Do you think he's going to succeed? Do you think he's going to flop? What is your honest opinion, guys? Much love.
Cheers, Dre. Well, we have done a bit of this in the podcast, but we'll obviously answer Andre's question. Buvey, how do you think Gyokeres to Arsenal will turn out?
I'll give it a rating. It's an 8 out of 10. Could there be room for where it doesn't work? Of course. But I like it a lot. As much as any striker coming into the Premier League right now, there's not many out there. It's like when Haaland came in. It might not work, but it did. I think Gyokeres is close to that.
Yeah, I think it's not quite best in class, but it's about as good as you can do. There's no such thing as a guarantee, but this is about as close to that as you can go. If it doesn't work, what you can't do is fault Arsenal's ambition and strategy.
Part of me, look, I'll be honest, I didn't want Victor Gyokeres to join Man United. Part of me feels weird about the transfer. I'm not sure if he's going to translate into the Premier League from the Portuguese league. But when you look at what Arsenal need, and like these guys have just said, he's one of the best available at the moment, so you can't fault Arsenal for their ambition. And when you look at what they need, the way they play football, if they can get him in the box and he brings 50-60% of the goals he scored in Sporting, it'll be a success. So, yeah, a bit mixed on it.
Nice one. Cheers, Andre. All right, next up we have Gary.
Hi lads, Gary from Ireland here. Why is Ruud van Nistelrooy never brought up in conversation in the best Premier League strikers? I'm hearing Drogba, Kane, Van Persie, Aguero. Ruud van Nistelrooy was one of the best finishers in Premier League history. Can we put some respect on his name? Thanks.
I don't think that's applicable to us, lads. I think
we're fair
I
with
think we do. I think we give him a lot of respect. I think he comes up a lot. Like, in my opinion, Ruud van Nistelrooy overall better than Robin van Persie, wasn't he?
Yes, I think he's better than most Premier League strikers. I also think, like, when you look at, some of the strikers, I think if he played now, he'd be the best striker in the world. The problem for Ruud van Nistelrooy comes with the fact that he spent 5 years at Manchester United. He won 1 league title.
Yeah.
And when we compare that to other greats, if you're going to compare him like just to Manchester United greats, Cantona, etc., he falls short in that aspect. And then also he spent 5 at United, 4 at Real Madrid. And in a 10-year span at those clubs, you'd think he'd win a Champions League, and he didn't do that either.
It's a good shout. Yeah.
Look, R9 didn't win a Champions League. Great players have not won the Champions League. But I do think in arguments and debates, that doesn't help him. With the fact that
What else did he win? So he won 1 league. What year did he win the league? 03?
when we lifted it at Goodison Park, so 03. Yeah,
Must have been
03.
He won the league 03. Did he win anything else with Manchester United?
He won the FA Cup?
FA
Won the
Cup
FA
against
Cup.
Millwall.
Against Millwall. He won the League Cup, but he didn't play in that game. It was when Louis Saha, Rooney played.
Why was it such a lean spell for Man United? I never really thought about that.
But it come around the time with
when we came
Arsenal
along.
won the league.
Yeah.
Then obviously
It's funny when players are so unlucky. Do you know who else falls a victim to exactly what you've just said? Another Dutchman, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Like Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, if things had been slightly different, he could have won so much. But he was at Chelsea for that period where we didn't win anything. The Ranieri era. All those Ranieri years when we got to the FA Cup final against Arsenal, lost in Cardiff. The first Roman Abramovich year, he was there. He was our striker. If he'd been slightly later, he would have won 2 leagues, back-to-back leagues.
You can get unlucky in football, can't
He
you?
was really unlucky,
Yeah.
like Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
I think
One of
Van
the best strikers we've had.
Nistelrooy is just on the top 10 region, just outside 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, I agree.
But I also think he's one of them. If someone had him in their top 5, I can't even argue. Because for me,
As a finisher,
It comes down to, what we were saying earlier on the show when we were talking about, like, Buvey's argument was, basically, if you did it for Southampton, you can't be considered one of the best. This is the same similar argument. If you were doing it for a team that wasn't winning the league, can you be considered the best? Like people say it about...
Alan Shearer was. I know he won A League, but
yeah.
same with Ruud won
but
A-League.
but people argue, and you're one of them, that argue that Shearer wouldn't be in your top 4, top 5 or whatever. Because of the
No,
lack
but that's
of
not
silver.
because of him, more so because other people have just achieved a lot more.
Thank you very much, Gary. Right, let's move on now to the next voice note from Dom.
Hey guys, I'm Dom. I'm a Chelsea fan, and I think that some of our transfer business over the last couple of years has just been so underwhelming. We signed Pedro Neto for £60 million, and I know he's looked a little bit better at the Club World Cup, but he was a signing who had about 12 league goals before that at Wolves, and people called him this shrewd signing. Pep would make him a superstar. And then we go ahead and sign João Pedro, who again, for me, isn't a player who's going to be moving the needle. But these sorts of players are not game changers. They're not the sorts of players that we should be signing. We should be signing 2 £75 million players, a Florian Wirtz, and promoting the Tyreek George of this world. I don't know why we keep going in for such average players who are only going to be rotational and are not going to push us into that threshold of challenging for the league.
Yeah, I think everything that Dom has said there is correct. Everything that he has said is annoyingly true, painfully true. Chelsea are trying to build a squad that isn't really designed to win the league. As a byproduct of it, we might win the league, we might win silverware, but we're not assembling a team to try and win the league. We aren't buying players at their best. We're buying players with potential. So no, the strategy is off, and I agree with Dom. It's incredibly frustrating. But on some level, maybe our ambitions for the club will align, even though the motivations will be different. But what we want is silverware. What the owners want is value. Sometimes silverware and value become the same thing. So you kind of have the same goal despite wanting it for different reasons. So maybe we'll see. Maybe we will see some silverware. But I agree with you, Dom. I do feel the pain, and it's very, very frustrating. Thank you so much to everybody for getting involved. We really do appreciate it. And remember, if you would like to get involved in the call-in show, just make sure that you click the link in the description below. You join our Discord, and you can send us your hot take, your debates, anything that you want to talk to us about. And we look forward to hearing either from you in person or from you via voice notes next week. In a bit.